in the shimmering heat of the Arabian Peninsula, where endless sand dunes ripple under a relentless sun. A creature of remarkable resilience makes its home. This is the Arabian oryx, born into one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Here, on arid plains and stony gravel deserts, where temperatures can soar past 50 degrees Celsius in the shade, this magnificent antelope thrives. The Arabian oryx, with its striking white coat and long, straight horns, once roamed freely across the entire peninsula, its range extending north into Israel, Jordan, Iraq, and Syria. But its story is one of both tragedy and triumph. By the early 1970s, due to relentless overhunting and growing human pressures on its habitat, this symbol of the desert was declared extinct in the wild. An ancient presence vanished from the landscapes it had shaped for millennia. Let's travel to a protected reserve in Oman or the U.S. Imagine a pale dawn breaking over the vast desert. A female oryx has dug a shallow scrape in the sand with her hooves, creating a cooler bed to rest in. After a gestation of about 8 months, she gives birth to a single, precious calf. Twins are almost unheard of. This newborn is what we call within just an hour. It's on its feet, ready to walk and quickly integrate into the herd. The mother provides milk and constant protection. In 2 years, she can give birth to 1 calf annually. A slow but steady rhythm of life in the desert. From its very first day, the calf begins a masterclass in survival. Its journey is a testament to incredible adaptation. The Arabian oryx's almost pure white coat isn't just for beauty. It reflects the intense sunlight, keeping it cool. Its hooves are broad and splayed, a perfect design for walking on soft sand and sharp gravel without sinking or slipping. Perhaps most astonishingly, it can survive for long periods without drinking water directly. It has evolved to get all the moisture it needs from the plants it eats, and even from the dew or fog that occasionally blankets the desert in the early morning. The herd is constantly on the move, a nomadic family searching for life-giving resources. They can travel up to 50 kilometers in a single night, using an almost sixth sense to track distant rainfall and find fresh plant growth. The young calf learns the herd's rhythm, rest during the punishing heat of the day. Like its mother, it learns to dig shallow depressions in the sand, tapping into the cooler ground just beneath the surface to escape the oppressive sun. Our young oryx grows up in the sweeping desert ecosystems of the Arabian Peninsula. Its home is a mosaic of sand and gravel plains, low dunes, stony flats, and wadis, the dry riverbeds that scar the landscape. Thanks to incredible conservation efforts, wild populations now exist again in the U.S., Oman, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel. A landmark moment in this story happened in Saudi Arabia in the Uruk Bani Marid protected area. Here, on the edge of the vast desert known as the Empty Quarter, oryx that were bred in captivity were returned to their ancestral homeland, a huge step in bringing the species back from the brink. Life in the herd is structured and social. Arabian oryx typically form groups of 5 to 30 individuals, though in areas with abundant food, herds can swell to 100. These groups are usually led by a dominant male, with females and their young following. Within this community, the young oryx learns its place in the hierarchy, the best places to graze, and the fundamental rhythms of desert life. They are primarily crepuscular, meaning they are most active during the cooler hours of dawn and dusk. When the midday sun is at its fiercest, they retreat to the shade to rest and conserve energy. Scientific studies have even shown they have periods of inactivity both in the peak afternoon heat and in the cold hours just before dawn, perfecting the art of energy management. As our oryx matures, it prepares to play its part in continuing the species. A female is ready to breed at around 2.5 to 3.5 years old. The social structure is polygynous, where one dominant male will mate with the females in his herd. After the 240-day gestation, a single calf is born and cared for by its mother, weaning at about 4 months old. In the wild, if conditions are favorable, an Arabian oryx can live for around 20 years. A long life for an animal that faces such daily challenges. But this long life was almost cut short for the entire species. As we mentioned, by 1972, the Arabian oryx was gone from the wild. The threats were numerous and overwhelming. Hunting for meat and sport, made easier by motorized vehicles that could traverse the desert. Habitat loss as human development expanded, and competition for scarce food and water with domestic livestock. The future looked bleak. But then, something incredible happened. A global conservation effort, famously known as Operation Oryx, was launched. Zoos and private collectors from around the world brought together the last remaining captive individuals to form a world herd. Through careful captive breeding programs, their numbers grew. This success paved the way for reintroduction projects, returning the oryx to protected reserves across the Middle East. It is one of conservation's greatest success stories. The species status was upgraded from extinct in the wild to vulnerable. However, the fight isn't over. Threats like poaching, habitat degradation, and competition for grazing still linger, and the oryx remains dependent on these protected areas for its survival. Let's follow the journey of one of these amazing animals. We'll call her Layla. She was born under a glowing sunrise in a vast UAE reserve. Her first hours were filled with the soft calls of her mother and the warmth of the sand. Taking her first wobbly steps, she joined a world of pale horns and gentle breezes. As weeks turned into months, Layla learned the ancient ways. She followed the herd at dawn, nibbling on dry grasses and digging for roots. She mastered the art of resting in the midday heat and felt the strange, innate ability to survive without ever seeing a pond or river, drawing life from desert plants in morning dew. She learned to read the wind, sensing distant rainstorms that promised fresh green shoots. By the time she was 2.5, Layla was ready to have her own calf. She became part of the timeless cycle of birth and renewal in this world of shifting sands. But Layla's world, for all its ancient beauty, is fragile. She is alive today only because humans chose to act. She is a descendant of those last few animals saved from extinction, a living symbol of a dedicated conservation promise. Her life is spent within the safety of a protected area. Beyond its boundaries, the old dangers remain. Yet, in the evenings, as Layla looks out across the desert horizon, watching the sun dip and paint the sky in violet and gold, she is part of something ancient and powerful. She represents a lineage that was nearly lost, but has returned. Her story, and the story of the Arabian oryx, is about more than just one antelope. It's a powerful narrative of resilience, adaptation, and our profound responsibility as stewards of the planet. The oryx shows us that life, even in the most extreme environments, finds a way. Its journey from the brink of extinction teaches us a vital lesson. When we choose to protect and restore, we can bring species back. But this recovery is not guaranteed. It requires our constant vigilance and commitment. For Layla and her kind, the story continues, written in the sands of Arabia, and its next chapter depends on us. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as we do, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next journey into the wild. See you next time!